Hey guys, it's Prince Rich with Rich Technology Group, and today I've got a special guest with me, Mike Moncivais with Poly, to go over the top 5 IP phones for Poly for 2022. So, first and foremost, Mike, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
So, before we jump into this, can you just briefly describe to the viewers who you are and what's your specific role in kind of day-to-day at Poly?
Yeah, absolutely. I am the managing director for the solution architects and the sales engineers that specifically focus on service providers. So any of the providers that your viewers are looking to buy from, my group is the technical support for integrating our products into their solutions and making sure that the entire bundle that they offer is of great quality. Right. So we make sure that it's completely integrated and all the work between the two companies is seamlessly done.
Awesome. So in short, if I'm understanding it correctly, because for our viewers who watch this channel all the time, we're kind of like the source to help them match them up with what service provider makes the most sense for them, like Ring Central, for example, or Nextiva or Vonage or Zoom Phone or something. So it sounds like your team is the guys in charge of making sure that the Poly solutions are compatible and work with those providers, if I'm understanding it.
Yeah, absolutely. So they do complete certification of our products with the solutions from the providers, as you mentioned, Ring Central, 8x8, Charter, Comcast, any of the major service providers. They make sure that it's certified and it goes through their certification process seamlessly.
Awesome, awesome. So for those of you watching, this is the guy that's going to help me show you guys what the top 5 IP phones from Poly is for 2022. So really quick before we just jump right into it, Mike, you guys have been around for what, I think like 20 years now. You're going on, I think, Poly's going on its 21st year coming up in 2023.
As Poly, yes. As a company that's been providing and creating these solutions, we go back even further, right?
Okay.
So a lot of our patents are 50 years old, 40 years old.
Wow.
And that's the amount of experience and knowledge that our engineers are putting into our product lines. And I'm proud to say that our turnover as a company, as well as engineering specifically, is very small. We haven't had a lot of turnover. So the same engineers that started the products are the same ones that continue to engineer it, manufacture it, create it. So all of the experience that they've been gathering throughout all of these years is all in the products.
Awesome. The reason I bring that up is because while you guys have been around for a long time, and like you said, you've got patents that are even older than Poly, the Poly name itself.
Right.
There may be some people out there watching this video that they don't know who Poly is. They've never heard of it before. Can you just really quickly and briefly explain to anybody watching who you guys are, what you are, and what you do in the general sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Poly is the combination of two companies, Plantronics and Polycom, and both of those companies have been making unified communications, if not communication devices, since the late 60s. So the technology that you're using and that you see from us, headsets, speakerphones, video bars, etc., all of those products were developed and manufactured with the knowledge that we created since the 1970s. So what we like to say is our technology explored the moon. It was the headsets that the astronauts were wearing when they announced that they had arrived and stepped on the moon. Our products were the first speaker phones that were used for audio conference calls in the late 70s, early 80s. And our video products were the initial video products used in conference rooms across the globe when video conferencing was in its infancy. So our pedigree is the initiation and the creation of solutions that no one has ever seen and no one's ever used. That's where we come from, and that's what we continue to do.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that quick synopsis. So,
absolutely.
Jumping right in, we're going to start with number 5 and work our way to number 1 for the top 5 Poly IP phones for 2022. Number 5 is the Poly Edge E450. I've got some questions for you on each one of those. My first question is, can you briefly explain to me and the viewers why this one is number 5 on the list? What features or functionality with the Edge E450 makes it popular, and why is it on this list?
Yeah, it's an exciting kind of announcement for us, right? In the last 3 months, in the latter half of 2022, we announced an entire new family of phones called the Edge E product line. And those phones were just created in the last year for the hybrid work environment. So what COVID has basically prevalently rolled out for everyone, right? You need to work from wherever you're at and be able to do your job from wherever you're located. All of those requirements drove us to create a brand new product line, and that's the Edge E product line. The Edge E 450, the reason we have it as number 5 is it has become the most popular model out of that new line for the first few months that had the initial rollout, right? The interesting thing with the 450 is it actually has dual screens built into the product line. That in itself enables a whole new type of work ability, the proficiency of the usage of the product, and who would use it. So it's taking the standard phone that you use throughout your careers, and now instead of having to put an attended module onto it to expand the lines, you actually have another screen that you can just leverage that's already built into the phone. It also allows you to use that new screen for functionality that you couldn't use in previous models because you didn't have the screen space or the control space from a button perspective to control all of those things. So this product we're very excited about because of the fact that we've taken all of the different needs that have been brought up in the last 2 years and put it into the product. It's Bluetooth enabled, it's wireless enabled, all built into the product. The microband is built into the creation of the product for antimicrobial. It gives you the ability to use any type of headsets, as we're using today, in any fashion. So if you have a headset that you love from previous solutions that you don't want to get rid of, this product will enable you to use it still. Or if you want to get into the more modern technology that's coming out with the wireless headsets, this product is going to enable you to use it. So very flexible, very easy to deploy and use. And greatest thing for this product is it has all the built-in abilities for Bluetooth and wireless. So that just enables you to use it with your mobile devices. So now you compare your phone, your cell phone, your smartphone to the desktop phone and seamlessly be able to use contacts that are on the phone, seamlessly be able to transfer a call that you're presently on, walk into your home office, automatically transfer it to your desktop phone without touching a button. All of that's going to be enabled in these devices.
Wow. Question for you about the Poly Edge E450. In the previous year, it sounds like the previous months since this one has been launched and became really popular, what industries or sectors have you seen have adopted this phone most and why? Just in the general sense.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because it kind of took us down lines that we didn't expect. And it's been a huge hit for the small to medium businesses. And the reason for that is the wireless components of it. We've enabled the deployment of those devices in areas that previously you needed to be wired to be able to deploy it. Gotcha. Now it gives the flexibility for a lot of these small businesses that didn't have rooms that were all previously created with the infrastructure to support it to deploy this phone and still use it because you can connect to a wireless device with it.
Gotcha. Final question on the Poly Edge E450. Which service providers or phone system platforms have you seen have adopted this model, or have you seen this model works best with?
From a working best with, we kind of pride ourselves with working with any of the providers out there, right? We're always flexible. So that from that standpoint, pretty much all of our major providers have certified the product. Now it's when is it going to be offered by them? And right now you can get it from GoTo for sure. They have it enabled and out there and ready. Ring Central is rolling this out in the next 3-4 weeks within their solutions. And the 8x8 is already going to be offering it in the coming week. So they'll be offering it before the end of the year here. So there's the kind of the top 3 right now that have certified and have rolled it out.
Yeah.
But out of all of our providers, our top 10 providers will have it available within the first quarter.
Awesome. All right. So moving on to number 4, the Poly CCX 600. And this one is actually a personal favorite of mine because this is the one that I actually use on my desk currently. I think I've actually been using the CCX 600 on my desk now for, I want to say, close to 8 months maybe. So even for me, it's a fan favorite. Can you briefly tell me and the viewers why this one is number 4 on the list? What are some of the key features that it has and what has made it so popular throughout 2022?
Yeah, this one's exciting, and you know what I'm talking about, being that you use it, right? This phone is different amongst all of our products that we offer. Not only is it just a touchscreen device, but it's also a device that allows our providers to create and administer applications via that touch screen. So in other words, their solutions that they run either on laptops or PCs or some type of automated solution like a smartphone, they can transfer that application straight onto this phone and use the touchscreen technology to manipulate it. So in some instances, it's exactly the same as if you were using it either on your smartphone or on your laptop on the desktop phone itself. That right there kind of tells you why it's number 4. And the reason for it is Teams and Zoom. Just coming out of COVID, those two product lines, those two solutions became very popular in the market. And being that those are applications that are being used, the transfer of that application onto a desktop device was what a lot of them were looking for. The CCX family was created for that type of work environment. So both the Teams and Zoom solutions work on it, and the popularity of both of those solutions have made that product line number 4 on the list, right? Across the board in North America.
Awesome. What industries or sectors have you found over the previous year have adopted or have, we'll say, been most receptive to the CCX 600?
Yeah, so specifically large enterprise has been a huge adopter, and that's because they're adopting either Teams or Zoom as their platforms, right? But an interesting sector that really has grabbed a hold of this and taken it for what the value it actually offers is the medium businesses that are like insurance companies, that are auto dealers, automotive dealerships that have their own applications that they want to be able to use the touchscreen for and be able to get automated updates or calls or paging systems, etc., integrated into the phone seamlessly from a touchscreen perspective. Those guys have really embraced this product as well.
Awesome. Final question in regards to the CCX 600. Which VoIP service providers have you seen that this has deployed best on, or would you say it has been most favored or most preferred with?
The one that really crept up and became number 1 over the last few months here has been the Dialpad Google solution. Dialpad has a really unique application that they use for their solutions. So they adopted it to the laptop and really found a good niche for it. They were able to port that solution onto the CCX platform and leverage that touchscreen like nobody else has done so far. So they definitely are leading the pack. From there, it's pretty much a who's who in the Teams and Zoom integrator in a family, right? Gotcha. So their top integration channel resellers are the guys that are really selling this stuff.
Okay. So moving on to number 3. Number 3 comes in as the Poly VVX 411. Now I know this one is a bit old school, so some of the viewers who've either seen our channel before or they've been watching the progression of our reviews of Poly and the other phones are probably thinking, wait, what? That wasn't manufactured in 2022. But there's a reason that this one's on the list. So tell us what that is. Tell me, A, why it's on the list, even though it's an oldie but goodie. But what are the top features and what makes this phone still so popular in 2022?
Yeah, the interesting story here, right, is just the environment and kind of the life we all have gone through in the last couple of years. The shutdown, COVID, all of that affected us in ways that we just never could have predicted. And one of the biggest things that the industry had to deal with is supply chain interruption. And the VVX 411 has had a revival because of that specific piece. Is we had a sufficient supply of components to manufacture it, etc. Even though it was coming to the end of its life, we still had enough of the different components to manufacture it. Due to the supply issues with the other lines, the 411 became the phone that was available, and it became very popular because of that. And really, it goes to the product's quality and flexibility. Because the product has the ability to pretty much mimic any functionality that's required of it in any solution, whether it was created for a lower line phone or a higher end phone, the 411 was able to be deployed and used in the fashion that was needed by the provider. So it filled a hole, it filled a gap, and it jumped up to number 3 on our list because of that.
Wow. It sounds like a lot of it was because of just it filled a gap where there was stock issues globally, just with a lot of different electronics and whatnot. But what industries did you see, or what sectors outside of people that just wanted Poly?
Right.
What specific industries and sectors, if any, did you see adopted that phone the most?
Yeah, the interesting piece there are any of the businesses that really had a contact center solution that they were trying
Gotcha.
to solve. This was the product to go to for it. And
Gotcha.
again, going back to what I stated before, its ability to be flexible and programmable and have the function buttons to be able to support multiple different requirements from a call transfer to call hold to call flow, etc. in a call center environment. It just really became the go-to phone for those type of folks. And when you think about the call center, it could be a small business that just is answering customer support calls to a cold calling business that needs to do outgoing calls in a rapid function. It kind of goes across the gambit, and that kind of just explains the number 3 position of the phone. It filled whatever was needed, right? What do you need? I'll be able to configure myself and make sure it works.
That's pretty cool. So, and I kind of already know the answer to this question for the VVX 411.
Yeah.
Which platforms or service providers have you seen it most deployed with, or is it compatible with? I'm assuming before you answer, that answer is like all of them, because this phone is it's probably the most well-matured phone on this list.
Absolutely. And you are absolutely correct. It's sold by 100% of the providers out there. As a customer, if you're very interested in this phone, just request it and any provider will be able to show it to you and show you how it functions with their solution.
Yeah, I think it's even, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's even, I don't want to say 100%, but it's darn near close, compatible with most of even your like open SIP, like on premise, like voice over IP phone systems. Like you can provision it with even those.
Absolutely. I know of a provider that just uses Asterisk, which is just the basic open SIP control system. And this is the phone they sell with their solution. So absolutely. And then, of course, Teams works with Teams, works with Zoom. It's all the open SIP standard, right? It's going to work with them.
Awesome. So, moving on to number 2 on our list, and number 2, in my opinion, is like the stuff of legend, is the Poly VVX 250. And the reason I say that is because, A, while it may not be as well matured as the VVX 411, because it just hasn't been out that long, it's probably the second most matured one on this list that I can think of. And
from a popularity standpoint, right? Very popular.
It was always hailed as like, in our office, it was hailed as like the free IP phone that all of the VoIP providers, like your Vonages and your Nextivas and all that would give out. So I'm going to shut up so you can tell me what is the poly reasons that the VVX 250 is just at the top of this list? What are the features or what it offers has put it there?
Yeah, you hit the proverbial nail on the head when you said it is the most popular phone as an entry-level phone for any of our providers.
Yeah.
And specifically those that provide it as a free device or a device as a service. The device's cost is included in the service type of model. Either of those two, it's the most popular model it is the model that's offered by the providers.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason this phone became the phone to go to for that is it has all the functionality. So you're talking about the 4 line keys and a color display on this small phone. But even though it's 4 line keys, you can have 35 key appearances through pagination on this phone.
Wow.
So even the 400 model that we were just talking about, it gives you the ability to see up to 12 lines in most configurations on one screen. This device would still allow you to see those 12 lines, but through a pagination button.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't eliminate anything other than just the visual because of the size of the screen. That in itself means the configuration for the 400 family will work on the 200, 250 without any changes.
Yeah.
It's just going to be there. You just have to use an additional button to see the lines. That's a very small thing to ask for a smaller footprint phone, a phone that's easily deployed and put into really small real estate areas, into lobbies, into guest areas. All of these type of requirements and use cases, this phone just totally dominated, and it works really well, right? So that's the given component of this is, again, it has all of the functions and features of the 400 family in a smaller footprint with a smaller color screen. Still gives you the micro band, still gives you the acoustic fence and the voice quality. All of that stuff is still all there. It's just a smaller footprint.
Yeah. So what sectors would you say for the VVX 250 receive that most? I mean, at least in my opinion, before you answer, for us it was like everybody. I mean, I think through the providers alone, we've probably sold like thousands upon thousands of the 250 with hundreds and hundreds of businesses that adopted it for dozens of different reasons. But what sector or specific industries have you guys at Poly seen adopted this phone the most, and why, if any?
Yeah, and your statement tells you why it's number 2, right? Just from a sheer quantity and volume that it sells, it's number 2 on our list. And as far as the segments, this product, even internally as we review it, is just under the enterprise banner. And the reason for that is it can be an extremely large enterprise that wants it in their manufacturing floors, in their entry lobbies, as they call them, satellite offices, where it's a shared office, people come and go, offices that are call centers, and they're doing a specific just entry level meet and greet call center type of thing. It just kind of goes across the entire gambit and then it goes all the way down to the mom and pop insurance company that has a single desk and a welcome area and a conference room, right? And that's the phone they're using in that environment. So it truly is across the entire gambit available to anyone and everybody. It's cost efficient, it's easy to deploy, and it works with the provider solutions. Everybody has it on their price list.
Yeah. My last question on the VVX 250, and I think you may have already answered it. It's almost like everybody has adopted this phone, but if you had to name a top 3 or a top 5, what VoIP service providers would you say have adopted this phone most, or kind of gravitated towards this phone most over the previous year?
It's the usual suspects, right? So you were just mentioning any of the providers that have a free phone in their solution. So the Nextivas, for sure, will have it on their price list. But again, then our largest guys up there that I mentioned before, and it even goes into the really large guys, right? So Verizon, AT&T, RingCentral, Comcast, Charter, 8x8, all of those guys have it in their portfolio as well. It is the mainstay of the industry as far as an entry-level phone goes.
Awesome. All right. So moving on to number 1. The Poly VVX 450. In the office, we actually have always dubbed, I think for the last 3 years, we've dubbed this phone like the king of the gatekeeper phones, or like the front desk receptionist. It's that phone, essentially. Can you briefly tell me and the viewers why the VVX 450 is number 1? What features have made it so popular, and why it's at the very top of this list?
Yeah, best feature on the phone that everyone gravitates to is the size of the screen and the ability to control multiple lines from one screen. So I was talking about it gives you the ability to do 12 lines physically on the screen. With pagination in most configurations from our providers, it could go up to 34 lines that you can page through on that single screen.
Wow.
As you just were talking about, from an attended perspective or a host perspective, or even just an admin assistant perspective, that's what they're looking for, right? And then you add sidecars to that, and you just expand that by multiples on the sidecars, because they have an additional pagination on the sidecar as well. So it's the command and control unit.
And the sidecar is the EM50, I think it's called?
Yes, it is. It is the EM50. So you can do up to 2 more on this product.
Wow.
So from those that have been in the industry forever, the PBX control center, or the secretary attended console that used to be sold with those units, this is the product that takes its place. It gives you all the functionality that old system did, and then all of the VoIP options and flexibility that you get from a VoIP solution added on top of that. So that in itself makes it a very popular unit. And then from a standardization standpoint, most everybody wants to standardize on maybe 1 or 2 phones in their footprint. This product then, without the sidecars, becomes a great just standard desktop model to deploy for everybody else. right? That in itself, being able to deploy as the front end unit and then just the standard unit across the board makes it very popular for the medium businesses, the enterprises that want just a standardized look in their office. It just fits the bill as far as that goes. And then, of course, it gives you all of the stuff we've talked about before. The voice quality, acoustic fence, the microband, all of those pieces are in there. And the very last thing I'll mention is, and then we created a little Wi-Fi dongle that you could plug into its USB port, and it became a Wi-Fi solution in its own right.
Yeah, I never knew that there was something added later to make to give the phone Wi-Fi. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that little piece gave us another uptick in its popularity again for 2022, and that created volume and need for all of the different deployments that didn't have a wired infrastructure to support it. And the home office, right? All of a sudden you got to work from home. How am I going to do this? I don't have Ethernet everywhere in my house. Where am I going to actually create my home office? It took that out of it. You could just deploy it anywhere you needed in the house, and it functioned and worked.
Wow. So I think you already mentioned some of it, like home office and whatnot, but I want to make sure there's none we missed. What industries or specific sectors would you say gravitate or have adopted the VVX 450 the most?
Yeah, so it is kind of the list in a broad sense, everybody, but really you're looking at manufacturing, retail, customer service or service providing type of businesses. And what I mean by that is you got your accounting offices, your insurance agents, your all of the public retail service type of organizations, and then the medium-sized businesses. So you're talking about the franchises, the restaurant franchises, service franchises, all of those type of businesses very much have been successful by deploying this product line.
Gotcha. What service providers would you say have adopted this phone, or is this phone most popular with?
Yeah, the big ones are the top 5, right? So you're going to talk about the Go-Tos, the Comcast, the 8x8, the Ring Centrals. Nextiva does also offer this.
Yep.
And Charter also offers it as well in their solution base. But the top 4 that I just mentioned, this is the primary product that they sell. They do volumes in.
Gotcha. Well, first and foremost, Mike, I want to thank you for coming and sharing this. This was rich. This was
absolutely
this was
pleasure.
A great lineup. Yes, thank you so much. This is a great lineup and just some really rich information for me and the viewers. I even learned a few things, even though I think I've reviewed most of the phones. Most of the phones you've mentioned in today's list, I've actually got. Some are sitting next to me, like the 250 and the 450, and even some of the Edge series is sitting next to me here on display. But I even learned something today. But I have 2 more questions I want to ask you before we wrap this up. First question is there anything at Poly that's new or on the horizon that you're at liberty to share that you'd like to share with me and the audience?
Well, 2 things, right? So I'm sure there's a lot of questions around what just occurred for Poly, and that is being bought and merged into HP. Huge change since October. We're in our 3rd month of being HP Poly. We are now part of the commercial organization within HP, which includes their gaming solutions as well as their enterprise personal solutions. It's a huge, huge thing for us because there's been just so much excitement within HP in gaining our expertise. And a lot of things have been happening internally where they've been asking us to come and show them all of the things we've been doing that have been so successful for us for decades. And the biggest thing, the quality of our products, our manufacturing processes, all of those pieces have been shared and are now being migrated into HP because they didn't have anything like it. We've been a hardware manufacturer for such a long time. There's a lot of expertise that we're bringing that they didn't have, believe it or not, right? And with that comes a lot of excitement. They're coming in and starting to revamp a lot of our manufacturing sites that had excess capacity and starting to use that to start creating new products. And that gets me to some of the announcements that are coming. And where I would tell your viewers you want to pay attention to is the Consumer Electronics Show. Okay. While the Consumer Electronics Show has been important to Poly, and we've always participated in a way, HP comes in a huge player way, right, for consumer electronics.
And that's
we are
CES,
now a portion
right?
of that. Yes,
CES
gotcha. In Las Vegas.
Gotcha.
We have 10 major announcements just from our commercial group, let alone our consumer and other products that are going to be available there. And a lot of it has to do with our headsets. So there's going to be some great announcements there around headsets. I wish I could say the name of the product right now, but we're 2 weeks out from our announcement. So they're restricting me on saying any of the named products, but I will be sending you the links so you can add them to your description so that folks can go and take a look at what's being announced. But between the headset solutions, our Edge E phones that we just rolled out in the last 3 months, and some brand new video solutions that are coming, add that to all the consumer products and solution sets, and the home work environment for HP is such an important component to their sales. I'm just really excited to be a part of that entire bundle, right? And what are we going to be able to bundle together to offer to our partners, the providers that you're going to be going and talking with, so that they can sell it with their solution? I'm just so over the top gung ho around that messaging. I can't wait. I just can't wait to start talking about it.
Well, when that releases, you and I may have to get back together. When it's public news, we may have to get
that's
back
one
together
thing I was going to tell you. We definitely are going to need to readdress our top 5 within probably a few months here, because it's going to change. The entire landscape's going to change in the next 3 to 4 months for sure.
Okay. Final question. For anybody who's watching this video, any of our viewers that's currently in the market for phone hardware or equipment for their office, small business, medium-sized business, call center, enterprise, what would you guys at Poly like to say to them?
I would say that you need to speak to the providers you're interested in about the Edge E product. The Edge E product is a complete game changer. Again, it has Bluetooth built in, Wi-Fi built in. The micro band is completely encased in its solution as far as its platform goes. And then the flexibility of being able to work with your smartphone devices and your contacts and bringing over your contacts and all those hybrid types of functions that it now introduces into solutions. It's going to answer things that no other products have done in the past. So you need to ask those providers about the Edge E. Is it available, and can I get it? Because that's the product you're going to want to use.
Awesome. And to add to what Mike just said, you guys, for those of you who don't know, who are watching, Poly actually sent me, I believe it was the entire box of the Edge E series.
The whole family.
Yeah, I just received it, like, I want to say about a week and a half ago. I've already reviewed one of them. I think it was the E220, which is not on the channel yet, but for those of you watching, he is right. I've seen what's in the box. I actually formally reviewed one of them, and the video is done and out of production for the channel, and I was very impressed. It's a whole nother level of Poly product. It's all the same stuff that you like in the older Poly stuff and a whole lot more, but I'm not going to spoil it. You guys will just have to watch the channel because those reviews are in production. So, Mike, again, I really want to thank you for being here. This was great, rich information.
Prince, just happy to participate, and hopefully people understand my excitement. We're a whole new company. We don't have supply issues anymore. We are really gung-ho to take over the market one more time, as we've always done in the past. Poly's excited. We're in it to win it, for sure.
Awesome. And thanks again for being here. For those of you who are watching this video and you're interested in seeing a price and learning more, like technical specifications and all that about the products that Mike has shared today, I'll have links in the description below this video and also on our blog when this video gets to our blog on our website, so you can go see pricing, tech specs, PDFs from Poly, the data sheets, all that stuff. Of course, if you've got any questions, you guys can always hit me up through our information below if you've got questions about a particular Poly product or which VoIP service providers are currently compatible with the product at the time that you have interest. As always, this is Prince Rich, your go-to guy for the best deals on business phone and internet in the United States. I'll catch you guys again in the next video.